How's it going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Welcome to, I think this should be episode 3 of the Dad Project podcast. And today I thought I would get my coach on for a
One
chat.
and only.
So this is Nick. Nick, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself, please, mate.
I'm Nick, obviously. I've been coaching for about 9 years, online and one-to-one in the gym as well. More online now, transferring over a bit more. And just love everything, training, nutrition, love food. That's why I have to train so hard, because I love my food. But yeah, nothing too exciting. I've got 2 kids. I know what it's like to juggling family and work and everything else. So here we are.
Yeah. So, I mean, today, before we even get into that, he's also a Man United fan, right? So, right now, as far as football goes, he's enjoying life compared to what I am as a Tottenham fan. So
It's been 2 weeks. I'm not getting carried away yet, but I mean, we've got Fulham next. That's the one we'll lose. We'll beat City, we'll beat Arsenal, and then we'll lose to Fulham. So, rally.
Listen, mate, we're like losing games on the bounce in the Premier League and then finishing fourth in the Champions League.
I know.
It makes no sense at all. Like, I've given up on football this year. It's just
We had it last
confusing.
year. Champions Europa League finalists, and also fighting relegation. So,
No, mate, I know. And we've decided to carry that on this year with Champions League and relegation battle. So, yeah. But listen, so today, basically what me and Nick are going to talk about is PTing versus online coaching and what actually would be beneficial for men, women over 30 when they sort of get into that decision where they like, maybe I want to sort of make changes and stuff like that. As I say, Nick's been doing this for like 8 or 9 years. I've been doing it for about 6 years now. And I mean, the easiest answer really is, what one do you think is better?
if you'd asked me this 3-4 years ago, I would have said one-to-one. You ask me now, and I genuinely believe that online coaching offers so many more solutions to a problem. There are specifics that one-to-one covers better, but solution-wise to the general population, online coaching is kind of like the best fit for most people.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think especially like where I started out PTing in like a commercial gym and stuff like that, like I feel like personal training in them environments is very much tick the box to make yourself feel better kind of exercise.
Yeah.
You do get, don't get me wrong, you do get anomalies that come through and they, end up progressing really well and stuff like that. But I feel like you could correct me if I'm wrong here. I feel like personal training, you kind of work yourself into redundancy in some ways. Like people can carry on paying you and you can end up with clients 2-3 years. But there's a lot of that time where you're just there having a chat and a bit of social and stuff like that. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I think it comes a lot with like planning. So like, if you're training people, they get to their goals. The whole idea is about, like future frame, like where can this then lead you? If someone's just got like a one-tracked goal, maybe it's just like to lose weight, but they don't care about pretty much anything else. Sometimes it can become a bit stagnant in the terms of like they get to that goal, they might keep paying you and you just keep training again. At that point can become a little bit of a chat and training as well, obviously, working on things, making sure things are better. But for the most part, you're not kind of like gunning towards anything specific. However, if you can, and you can show people along the first part of the journey, like the benefits of the next thing and the next thing, that's when you can like sort of program in better things and bigger things as they go. But some people, you're always going to get those people that are just not really interested in that side of it. They just want to do, it's kind of like they get to their goal and then they're like, well, if I don't just keep going, I'm going to go backwards. So I'll keep paying you, or I'll keep turning up, whatever it is, because I'm getting something from it. And again, I used to then think before that was a bit of a problem, but it's not. Like sometimes like having somebody there holding them accountable to go, that's what they need. And if that's what they need, then that is we're just there to fulfill a space, if that makes sense. Like just fill a space of what somebody needs, no matter how big or small that is. It could just be the fact that, Nick, if you ain't there at 8 a.m, I ain't going to fucking turn up. Like just having that is you doing your job at that point. However, for us who love training, who are constantly striving for the next thing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for us to go, okay, I need to be okay with the fact that you're okay just doing what you're doing. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, you can do more. Like, come on, we can do this and this. And they're like, I just don't care. And I'm like, oh, but you should care. You really should care.
And that's yeah. I mean, listen, I've had a few clients in my time. I mean, I had one that very much it was a girl that come with us. I love it a bit. Like we had quality conversations, decent laugh and stuff like that. But she was there for 2 sessions a week just to have a chat, just to tell me about her dating life, just to tell me about her love of coffee. But she just wanted someone to just kick her up the arse so she felt better about herself. Do you know what I mean? And there's
Sometimes that's all it is, and that's all right. And then you have other people where they are like us. You get somebody and it's like, right, okay, I've ticked that box now. What's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing I can do? And they're the ones that over a longer period of time, if you want to use, not saying more enjoyable, it's not that you don't get on with them as much, but it's just like they become more enjoyable from a job perspective because you're always having to like move on to the next thing. But that's not going to be for everyone. The one thing I think people get with one-to-one, or they think with one-to-one, sorry, is that because they turn up and you're a professional, I'll get the results. Like whether I do what you say outside of the gym for the other 23 hours a day, or whether I push myself when I go to the gym on my own, or even if I go to the gym on my own at all. But because I've got a coach, sorry, I'll just get the results. And it's like, no, that's not what happens. Like you can turn up, you can train hard, but it's the other 23 hours of the day that make up the real change. This hour is the least. I'm not saying the least beneficial, but like if you're doing one perfect hour and then you're messing everything up for the other 23, the coach ain't going to outweigh that, no matter how
no,
good.
no, and this is the other thing as well. I think like the other thing with that situation, exactly like you say there, it's like I used to get it a lot, especially where I used to work. It was like, oh, can I hire you as a personal trainer? It's like, cool, let's do some sessions, stuff like that. Oh, can you do me like a meal plan as part of the personal training? It's like, no, no, no. I'm just here to
Train.
teach you how to do your lifts and stuff like that. And like from my personal opinion, I think the people that a personal trainer suits best, maybe the ones that have one got a bit of gym anxiety, two just don't know what they're doing. So they need that person there to make sure they're carrying it out properly. And I don't know about you. I think I can always tell early doors if that's going to progress into online coaching or something more, or if it's very much just it's going to go for a couple of months and they're going to disappear no matter what you do.
Yeah, there are some people that you just never, they as soon as they realise that just turning up with you isn't enough, that if they go into it thinking that, and you can't show them that, it's not even can't show them. Some people just don't want to hear it. Like we all know those people in every walk of life where you're like, this is how it is, and then they're like, yeah, it's not really the answer I'm looking for. And I'm like, but that is the answer. Like, whatever line of work or anything it is, like some people are just blinded to the fact of like, well, I want to believe what I want to believe, and you're not going to change my mind on it. Those people you can always sort of tell from the start, because I think when people go into online coaching or one-to-one, that's when they're like most motivated. You're like, cool, I'm here, I'm going to make change. They would at least start trying from the off. If you get
Yeah.
somebody that comes in and they're just not interested whatsoever, obviously our job is to turn that tide, but you're not going to be able to do it for everyone. And you kind of tell the people after a couple of weeks, you're like, this is going to fizzle out. And I used to be really worried about that. And now I kind of tell people, now I'm like, I've got that, again, it's like air of confidence in my ability, if you want to call it that, where I'll say to someone like, this isn't going to get you what you want to get out of it. Like you have to do more or there is no point. Like not no point. I don't say that to them literally, but because you don't ever want to knock people down too much, but you have to be a bit real with them and say like, you have to be doing more. Like you can't just turning up isn't enough. It could be enough for the first couple of months because you were doing nothing and now you're doing something. So that's a win. Brilliant. But over time, like we have to progress things. And if you're not willing to make that progression, you're just going to fizzle out. And then
It becomes repetitive and boring if you're not willing to take that step as well. Like that's how I look at it. It's like if you're just there, like I had a client and I actually ended up having to call it off. I had him for 2 years, and it was just any time we sort of would try something a bit new to make it a bit more fun. it would be like, oh, but I've got this injury, I've got that injury and stuff like that. And eventually I was just there like, we're still doing the same stuff for 2 years. Unless you make these changes, there's nothing more I can do. I can carry on taking your money. And like me personally, I am not comfortable with just taking people's money just for the sake of doing, like, having money. It's nice, obviously. Like, I'm not going to complain about having a bit more money off the back of it. But then on the other side, it's like, what am I getting out of it? Like, I want to grow. I want to grow my business the same way you want to grow your business. And if you're just there, just taking money for the sake of it, just because it's money, then what joy do you get out of that? You know?
Yeah, and you're not kind of doing it for the right reasons as such. Like, again, there's always going to be those people where you're like, I'm helping you as much as I can help you. And sometimes I look at it from a different perspective as well. I'm like, why is person A getting the results and person B is not getting the results? When I am giving the same information, I'm doing the same stuff. Now, there is an element to it where you have to go, not one way doesn't fit everyone. But if you've tried and you're saying like, right, okay, we're going to go down this route, we're going to do this, and they're just like offering you no help along the way, no like information on what's working, what's not working, what they're struggling with. And they're just sort of like, either not talking to you for weeks on end or just, just lip servicing everything you're saying, but not actually doing anything. Like, there's only so much help you can give people. And eventually it gets to the point where it's like, well, now this is causing me stress because like, I want to help you and I want everything to like go smoothly for you, and understand that, your situation is different to this person's situation. So we need a different approach to it. That's fine. I'm happy with that. But I can only give you a different approach if I know the difference between what you're struggling with and what they're struggling with. I'll give the same amount of attention, I'll give the same amount of energy and passion into it, but unless I know what I'm working with or what the problem is, I can't do anything. And that goes for one-to-one and online coaching. Like, you'll get those people that are just not very responsive to helping themselves, and it's like, well, we both need to work together to get your results. It's not me telling you what to do, it's us working together. But you have to be a team with every client you have. It's kind of like you're a team working on the same. You might have different approaches. You might have different like ideas on how to get there, and you might do something or say something. They might push back, whatever it is. But you have to keep reverting it back to like, we want the same outcome, but we just need to work together to achieve it. And some people just are not. They're not. Well, you're the professional. You must know what to do. It's like, it's a stab in the dark. Yeah, like, what do you want me?
Exactly that. And I mean, like, for yourself, obviously, you've just. So this is obviously Nick here is a Get Crafted coach as well. I think you've just had another successful launch, correct?
Sold out in 7 minutes.
Sold out in 7 minutes. And how many have you got this time?
Me personally, or
in general? Go both.
Just over 200.
So there you go. So, and then with that, like, so how many people are you working with currently then, like, including online and that?
50 this time. Started off at around 40, I think it was. Then it went up to like 60. I was at 100, 110 at one point, but then obviously having another child literally 7 weeks ago. Workload in terms of like my one-to-one coaching bigger and everything else that I'm doing. I'm coming on podcasts and stuff like this. Yeah, we're doing 50. I'm doing 50 this time. So I've got less than the other guys. I'm still going in it to win it. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's also won 5 times in a row. Got me second in the last one, and
first, second, and third in the last one.
He got first, second, and third in the last one. But like, obviously, with that, and this is the thing. Like, I think with online coaching, when I have like the chats with people about potential one-to-one personal training or online coaching, I will always ask what the goal is, because if the goal is there to lose weight, get your body a certain way, literally change your habits and stuff, then yeah, you're right. That 1 hour in the gym as personal training just isn't enough to do that. But then the other side of the online coaching spectrum is like, you give them so much. It's like, I had a client this week, he won't mind me saying this. He messaged me on Monday and he was like, look, I'm preparing for a bit of a bollocking here, but I went off the rails last night, had this, had that. And I went, but why did you? like, I'm not going to tell you off, but why did you do it? And he was like, I was a bit stressed out because I had to go away from work and things like that. I was like, okay. So when you get stressed, you eat food and stuff like that. I said, so what you're going to do now for the rest of the week is you're just going to send me pictures of your meals and the ways and stuff like that. And then when you are getting stressed, you'll just tell me and we'll navigate it, sort of thing. But I think this is the thing with online coaching. He's in Manchester. I'm in Gravesend. I can't sit there and watch over him all the time. So there's almost that trust element that has to come with it as well.
Yeah, it does. The difference between like the one-to-ones and online coaching, which is why I actually think online coaching is now, it's different. Like if we're talking about a just one-to-one like gym, because you know, you have these hybrid situations now, which, you know, we both do really, which is where you'll see and meet up with clients in person. You'll go through stuff one-to-one with them. You're about to work on more specific elements, which is where one-to-one's good because you can fine tune everything there and then. With obviously online, the guys in Manchester, like he will send you a form video, you will review the form video, he'll go back to the gym, he will then make it better, he'll send a video. It might take a session or two to find those little tweaks. As opposed to like one-to-one, you can like narrow those down a little bit quicker. But I feel like the overall support system, exactly what you're saying there, like you might have an hour conversation with the person in the gym on a one-to-one basis. But with an online person, you can be like, cool, you're going to send me all the pictures of your food. You're going to send me like how you're tracking it. You're going to let me know how things are going throughout the week. So the one thing I say to all my clients is do not tell me what you're struggling with after the event. Like, don't just wait till you're check-in, or don't be like, Nick, I've had a really bad week on Friday. I'm like, if you're having a bad week, it's only going to go one way. And I always try to use the analogy of like, if you don't do anything, it's going to end in a bad result. In terms of like, if you're struggling all week and you don't say anything, you're going to have a bad week, right? If you are struggling and you do say something, you still might have a bad week, but you also might have a good week. You might be able to turn it around. So one of them is you're definitely going to fuck it up, really. The other one is there's a chance we might be able to salvage it or make it not so bad. So never leave it till like that after the event to tell someone, yeah, I've been having a really tough week, etc. Like always, you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people, support people, help them navigate through those sort of situations. But yeah, that's like the difference. Like you can do that. You can ask for that client to send you all that stuff when in a one-to-one, you see them for 8 hours a week, possibly 2, possibly 3, you know, however many sessions you've got with them. But you're not able to offer that same support all day long. Again, we're talking about solely one-to-one, not one-to-one and half of it online. Because a lot of the time, some coaches might be listening to this and be like, well, I speak to all my clients outside. Well, that's kind of like an online coaching, you know, all right, it might be through WhatsApp, it might be whatever, but it's still like a hybrid thing where you're giving them a training day, hour session, and then you're also offering outside support the whole time. Like, and a good coach, one-to-one coach would do that sort of thing. But if we're just talking about like turn up for a session, we do a session, go home, then that level of support isn't there. Because you could just go like, oh, okay, I can tell you as much as I can possibly tell you in an hour. And then when you leave and someone cuts you up, you completely forget everything I've said and you start having to go at that person and it all goes out the window.
Yeah. And I think, again, this is a mistake I made when I first started. I pretty much treated everyone like a hybrid, but they was only paying me as a personal trainer because of that desperate. Like when I first started personal training, you just want to help everyone, and you know, like with that, it's like, well, I'm willing to, you know, charge less money. Like I think I was doing sessions at one point for £15 an hour just to get the experience, which is crazy. But but at the same time, it gives you the experience, right? Like if I don't do them £15, if I don't get up at 4:30 in the morning to go and learn from these, like to learn how to train people, then I don't carry on doing this 6 years later. But it's crazy. I mean, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now. So with the online coaching, what is it about online coaching in the current state of the fitness industry that you think is so appealing? Because I mean, there's fucking tons of online coaches these days.
Yeah. In terms of what's appealing for people to like coaches to do it, or appealing for people like clients to go with a coach?
So let's go from people to do it and then go the other side. Why it's appealing for a customer?
I think people want to become an online coach because they have no clue of what goes into it. From the outside, they're like, you get to go to the gym, you can, talk to a couple of people, write a couple of programs, might send a couple of meal plans or tell people to eat protein and stuff like that. And again, I went into it thinking the same. I was like, cool, I'm going to go into it. It's going to be super easy. I'm going to get like 50 clients. It's going to be great. I'm going to have loads of free time. It's going to be wicked, right? And then I realized, holy shit, like you are doing it for a very short period of time if that's what you think it takes. The problem is there's no, not the word vetting, but what is it? Like, there's no, anyone can, my mum could just start an Instagram mark. Sharon Warren Coaching, she's an online coach within seconds, right? There is no, with a PT, you have to like get a qualification and stuff like that. And I strongly believe you shouldn't be allowed to be an online coach unless you have done floor hours as well. Like you should have worked with people on a one-to-one basis before you're allowed to be an online coach.
I agree.
Anyone can do it, and it's like, oh, okay, I've got a pair of like abs and six pack and stuff, so I'm just going to be an online coach. I just tell you to do what I do. And when I first started PTing, it was like that. I remember PTing my mum like one-to-one, and I would like train her how I train. Yeah. Poor lady couldn't walk up the stairs for a week. I'm thinking, what are you doing, mum? Come on. Like, what? Like leg press, leg extensions, leg curls, lunges, like the whole thing. And she's like 60 odd years old and ain't trained for 20 years. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to realize that not everyone is me. And that was one-to-one. But, with online, you can do that and that was my mum. Like she was going to come back the next week. She was helping me get experience and stuff. But online is like, people ain't got a clue how to train. They think they know how to train. They don't. It's very easy to become one. So the first thing is I think it's too easy to become one. So they think, I'll just do it. They also think that it's a lot less in depth than it actually is. And most of the time, and you'll know this, like most of what we do is geared around like helping people's with like habits, with like barriers that they've got in the way, with like all of that stuff. Like there's a lot more in depth from a mental point of view, really. A bit like, some low level therapy. And by no means am I saying that online coaches are therapists, but it's more along those lines than just here's a training program and nutrition plan. I also think the problem is there are some very successful online coaches out there which do earn a lot of money, and then that appeals to people who think, well, that's a one-way ticket. I just become an online coach, earn a shitload of money, and it's easy. And I love the gym, so what's not to love? It's not that at all.
Yeah. I mean, if I go back and tell a story like similar to train people how I train, I had a 60-year-old man trying to do a bench press, and he couldn't even sit up. Like it's really bad to say it like this. It was like watching a turtle try and get up off his back, and like that was. And again, if I don't do that, I don't learn that. Right. So like you said there, like anyone can become an online coach these days. And what's even more scary is the amount of online coaches, and you can see it through their content, you can see it through their programs. They just go on ChatGPT and get everything done for them, send it off. Right. And then the client will go, oh, fucking hell, he's done that quick. Well, yeah, he's just putting the prompt on the ChatGPT, and there's no like actual care about what happens.
No care. The good thing with ChatGPT that is happening now, and AI in general now, is it's going to weed out the crap coaches. Is actually a benefit of being a good coach at the moment, and one that cares, actually coaches, actually does the stuff. Like those coaches that offer no real accountability can't and don't know how to work around bigger problems. More, especially, and again, as you are older, not to get kicked off your podcast, but as I've got 2 kids now. So instantly, when someone came to me 10 years ago and was like, I've got 2 kids and like struggle for time, I'm like, mate, get up 7 a.m., get up at like 6 a.m. Sorry, you got to make time. Like, get in there and be back home before the kids go to school. Yeah, okay. That is an element to it. But when that same person comes to me and says, I've been up 3 times in the night because my kid's got earache like I had the other night and I couldn't make the gym, it's like, now I actually understand those problems. I actually
Yeah.
understand what you're going through. So you have to like navigate things a little bit better. And you get that with experience, with age and stuff. And there's lots of young online coaches that would be really good as well. It's
Yeah.
just because people think it's an easy job. And then when they realize, oh, it's a bit tricky, not really sure what I'm doing, straight to chat GPT, that writes them whatever it is. And they don't learn anything. It's like, again, I don't want to go down this route on this podcast. People that take like weight loss jabs.
Yeah.
There is for whoever's listening, there is a time and a place for some people. I'm not saying that, but as a blanket general thing, it doesn't teach you anything. It just puts a bandage on a problem, and then when the bandage comes off, nothing's healed and problems can happen. It's the same thing with like these coaches. They're, oh, I've got a problem, put it on chat GPT. They'll fix a problem the first time, but as they get popular, more serious things happen. They're going to get found out eventually. Which is
100%. And here's the other thing as well. Like you saying that about putting a bandage on a problem, it's almost like having chronic back pain and putting a belt on when you're deadlifting. The damage is already done, right? Like
it's
in
a
that sort of
problem
sense.
why you're getting back pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is it. Like, so on that front then, what do you think separates the good coaches from the bad coaches other than just ChatGPT?
Us who don't actually know how to use it properly. The first thing is like care. I know that sounds a silly thing, but like if you care about your clients, not making a lot of money, not looking popular on Instagram, not, trying to even selling out, get crafty things. The reason we sell that out, okay, we get really good results, but it's because we actually care. Like we're group coaching and it's like, I could take another 100 people on, but it's like, you know what, if I take 100 people on, I'm not going to be able to give as good a service.
Yeah.
Because I'm too busy with everything else I've got going on. So I'd rather take on 50. That means I'm getting paid half as much as what I would if I took on 100. But I give a proper service to those 50 people. So the first thing is like care. You actually want to help people. I think that has got to be like the fundamental thing of any, you don't become a doctor because you're like, there's loads of money in it. Most of the time you become a doctor because you actually want to help people, just like you become a mechanic because you're into cars. Like there is a care and an interest in that to start with. And then I just think it's about like listening to people, making sure that you are constantly upskilling, but people don't want to do that. People just want to, I'm in good shape. I look good and I'm just going to sell my Instagram account basically. When if we're here there constantly, going on courses, trying to better yourself. Obviously now I'm in a coaching team, if you want to call it that. If I don't know something, I have no ego to go into the group and be like, Steve, Alice, whoever it is, like struggling with this, got a client, this is the problem, not sure how to deal with it. What would you suggest? And then, between us, if we don't know, we'll come up with a solution or I'll find it or whatever. But again, it's that. Because it all comes down to care, really, doesn't it? Care and wanting to improve yourself for other people rather than just Instagram likes and clicks and social media hype and stuff.
Yeah. And this is it. Like, I think, obviously I started working at Muscle Up where UPT about 4 months ago, started training there about a year ago. And part of that was to sit there and go under your learning tree, for example, and learn how you do things and stuff like that. Because obviously I've only ever been in a commercial gym environment. So there was only a certain type of clientele that was going in there. And it's like, I think another thing that separates the good PTs from bad PTs and coaches and stuff like that is that willingness to learn off of someone that is better than you, right? Like, and again, I can only sort of say from the environment I come from, is so many people was like, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need help. I don't need a coach. I don't need this. I don't need that. And it's like, but you do, because like, and my example I always give to people is like, how many top athletes in this world have coaches, right? Like,
look at Ronaldo.
Right?
Better term, Messi, whoever you want to. Ronaldo's better, but again, for another.
Whoa.
I'm a United fan. Okay, it can't. But arguably, I'll use the word arguably to keep this like friendly. Arguably the best player in the world.
Yeah.
For some.
Yeah.
But he has a coach. Of course he does. And he's better at football than any of his coaches have ever been. But they can still see something, spot it, offer him advice, help him get better. And it's that same thing with you, with me, with everybody else. It's like not having an ego and being able to say, okay, and say you're wrong. The amount of times I've put something on Instagram and then learn that actually that's incorrect, I would have no problem going on there and being like, you know how people are doing these videos where it's like they're taking somebody else's video and they're basically talking about how they're wrong and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I would have no ego on putting my video up there and being like, this is what I thought was right. Now actually this is wrong. Now I've learned more. You know, this is the truth or whatever it is. But again, goes back to people just can't. They don't want that. No, that makes me look silly. That makes me look stupid. And I wouldn't have done it 5-6 years ago.
yeah,
You know, just 3-4 years ago, probably I'd have been like, no, I'll just delete it. I pretend I didn't say it. And it's like we're all learning. Like not only are we all learning, which is a good thing, but also like just research in general is improving. It's becoming more, like easily accessible for us to like learn from, and things change all the time. Like it's not a problem, but those who haven't got an ego will benefit from that sort of thing.
100%. And then I've got one other question for you, just to follow up with that.
Yeah.
Do you think a PT or online coach should be in shape?
Yes. Not all the time. I'm not saying again, age will come into it slightly. I'm not saying, if there's a 50, 60-year-old PT, you still don't have to have a six pack and be shredded or anything like that. That's ridiculous. And again, depending on what your PT, online coaching, one-to-one coaching, whatever you want to call it, what your coaching, niche is as such. Like if you're a strong man, you should be a strongman, not necessarily a top level, whatever, but you should live and breathe it to a degree. You should know how to do it, or I wouldn't go and teach strongman. I've done it. I've done a little bit of strongman back in the day and stuff. Nothing obviously to a proper level, just fun of training something different. But I wouldn't be a strongman coach. Just like I have turned a couple of people away, actually, funny in the last few months, where they've asked me about competing. Now I'm like, I'm not a bodybuilding coach. I'm a lifestyle coach for people that actually want to take it serious and get in shape. So not, I want that halfway house between, look, you don't need to be a bodybuilding competitor, but I want you to take it serious. Like what we're doing, I actually really care about, and I want to help you, and I want you to take it serious as well. So I want to get you in as good a shape as we can, but I also understand that you've got a family and, you've got a life and friends, and you do like the beer on the weekend, which is okay, but we have to navigate around that sort of stuff, that sort of thing. So you got to stay in your lane. So should they be in shape? If you're someone that is looking to get people in really good shape, then you should have either had proof that you have been in shape, but you might be on a different part of your journey now. Like end of my bulk, I don't look like I'm in super great shape. I mean, I'm strong,
Yep.
I'm bigger, but I'm not lean, shredded by any means. But I've done it multiple times and I will do it again. Again, if you're a strong man or if you're a bodybuilding competitor, I feel like if you put somebody through a bodybuilding prep, you probably should have done bodybuilding prep yourself.
Yeah.
You need to know what it's like. The struggles that those people go through, you have to be able to relate to them in some ways. Even if it was like, oh, I've done it before and I don't do it anymore, you still know what it was like. So yes, but yes, within the realms of their clientele, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's very key that they've walked the walk. At least, like whether that's getting in shape, whether that's if you're a powerlifting coach, you've at least competed at least once doing powerlifting. Like for myself, I'll probably say I'm a similar bracket to you. Right? I like to get people in shape, like to make sure that they're looking good and stuff like that. I think there's far too much of a taboo around. There's the dog. There we go. I think there's far too much of a taboo around, I'd say, people my age, your age, sort of around the 30 mark, where it's almost deemed as it's a bit obsessive if you want to get in shape and you want to look good. Whereas I don't believe that that's the case. But I also think if I was to hire someone to get me in shape, I need to see that one, they've done it. Two, if they're a parent like me, I want to see that they've done it around wife, kids, stuff like that. It's why it always makes me laugh when, I see people hire a PT that's like, I don't know, 19 years old. And that 19-year-old's going, oh, well, this is how you need to eat every day. Okay. Do you know what it's like to have kids? Do you know what it's like to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning? And do you know what I mean? Like
It's very, very different.
And that's my fault. I just think like with the thing with online coaching now, as you say, anyone could probably turn up online with a six pack and claim to be an online coach. But I think there's that level of empathy that people don't have for real life and what people go through.
It's, lots of these people, like, we all know them people that were in shape at school, had no body fat on them, but eat load of shit food all the time. Like, we all know those people that don't, like, if they just put stuff on Instagram and they look in really good shape, well, all right, they might train hard and stuff, but they don't know what that struggle is like to, struggle to lose weight and have to, like, get their cardio in, get their steps in, track their food really religiously. If I would always say to somebody who is looking for a coach, pick somebody, you basically just touched on this, but like, pick somebody that is in the realm of what you're going through, because they can, if they've walked the walk and with the situation, for the most part that you're in, got kids, got a busy job, maybe getting married and you're getting ready for a wedding, and they got in shape for their wedding. They kind of know the stress that goes along with it, whatever it is. Like, picking somebody that is within that niche, if you want to call it that, is super important, because just picking some random because they look good on Instagram literally is the worst way to judge, to pick somebody. Like, it's just not how you should do it. Do your
And to be honest, I've done it. I've been that guy. I've, for my photo shoot and stuff like that. And he's a really lovely bloke. And I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about him or anything like that. But he didn't have kids and he didn't understand certain things. He didn't understand certain elements. He didn't understand the fact that I used to be a builder and I carried many injuries. So when it comes to like the programming and things like that, like, by the end of it, I just felt like I was running on empty and I ended up with more injuries than I did anything else. But I looked good at the end of it. So, there is that. So the final question then really is, what is your ultimate goal for your business? Like, when you sort of, like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with your coaching?
Long term, probably be solely online. So I do that completely. Obviously, I like the freedom of it around family. It's a lot of work. And if you take 2 hours out in the middle of the day, because I'm able to do that, I have to find those 2 hours later on. So it does mean working late sometimes, does mean getting up extra early sometimes. Like, the work doesn't change. You can't just not do it. But it does give you that freedom, flexibility. Like, I'm really, like, I want to be the best dad possible for Leo and Alessia. So, like, I want to take Leo to school as many times as I can. I understand I'm not going to always be able to do it. I want to be able to pick him up. I want to make sure if he plays football or, does boxing, whatever it is, I can go and watch his stuff. So online is definitely the way for me, I think, because obviously it gives you that freedom. With Get Crafted, working with the team and stuff like that, it's just taking that to, like, higher and higher levels. Hopefully my long-term goal within that is to start to be established, as well as, like, people coming in to train with me as well. So obviously I had my own business first. Like, I had my own online coaching business and one-to-one. We kind of like merged our two companies together as such, but Steve's was obviously far bigger and more established than mine, which makes complete sense. But the idea is, over time, to build a reputation up within the fitness industry as well, where people will come to us and be like, has Nick got any spaces, wanting me to be their coach, rather than coming in and then being like, cool, we have Nick, sweet. Like, getting filtered down that way, which again is something that I need to look at from my own advertising perspective as well. Like, I need to get back on socials properly, doing things like this podcast is brilliant, just get back to it, because I got so consumed with just working and coaching, which is fantastic. It's kind of like, I don't want to lose my online presence as well. Yeah, over the next 5 years will probably be like solely online, building Craft up to be bigger and bigger, but then also becoming like a figurehead of it as well. So people will come in to train with me because my reputation is, elevating all the time, like that kind of thing. What about yourself?
For myself, is to go fully online at some point. That would be absolutely great. Grow this podcast. Like, this has been quite a scary thing to try and do, to be honest. But then at the same time, I think, like, I just listen to podcasts. I very rarely sit down and, like, listen to music. I do like music, but I very rarely just sit down and put an album on or anything like that. If I do anything, like if I'm cooking, doing my meal prep, it's usually like a podcast on in the background or something like that. Like I like to be able to learn, and I like to be able to teach, and I like to be able to get to that. One day I would love to be able to do a group photo shoot with a load of clients. That's sort of like the pinnacle for me, for sure.
Yeah, that is obviously, you know, that we're doing our first group one. I've done one with a couple of clients. I did it with
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And doing our first one this May. Idea, I think, is to run probably like two a year. Sorry to say, 2 a month. Then, fucking hell, it's a lot of dieting. No, two a year. And again, brief conversations between like me and Steve and the team and stuff. Like maybe like that could be something where I lead that side of it. Again, it's all just early stages, you know, see how things go and stuff like that. But having something as well, a bit like yourself there, we're like, cool, like this is within the business that we've got. This is kind of like my element that I focus on, and you know, I'm the main driver behind something like that. That'd be cool. I like to work, which I never thought I would say it. When I was working in retail, mate, I like to not go to work. And then you something that you enjoy, and then it's like, you know, finding pockets of time or all the time to do bits of work. It's mental how if you find something you love, you just do far too much of it, right? But yeah, I like to have things that I can like really like focusing on. So that'd be like a good sort of thing as well.
That's quality. And right, final question, and then I will let you get back to being a parent and stuff like that.
He's home. I've heard him come home. He's changed his clothes from his nursery. He's probably
If-
waiting. The bad guys with me downstairs in a minute. Yeah.
So if someone decides that they want to get into get themselves in shape, get in fitness and stuff like that, what would be the two traits you'd be able to identify between someone that should go online and someone that should go for a personal trainer?
If you need flexibility, so if you are somebody that's like, I can go to the gym, but sometimes it might be the morning, sometimes it might be the afternoon, might have to go on the weekend, something like that. You need a little bit of flexibility, or you need more support. I definitely think online is the one. Okay, it could be better if you have a little bit of gym experience. However, you know, we can work, and we do work with people that are newbies to the gym. That's fine. Form videos and just, you know, giving people form videos from us doing it, showing them how to do it, and plus them sending it, etc. Like we can work around all that. But I think flexibility and or if you need more overall support is better if you go online. With one-to-one, it could be like, okay, look, I do everything as I do it. I just need someone to push me that little bit harder in the gym. Then that, or if you've got something like, you know, if you're niggling injuries everywhere and, you know, maybe you're at risk of injury. So if you are 60 years old or older, give or take, or, you know, you're a bit banged up through being on the building site, you might need to, at least for the first maybe, you know, 3 to 6 months, work with someone in the gym, make sure everything is working all right. Just because you get that instant fix if you're doing something wrong. Plus you get, you know, that whole getting into the gym anxiety, that side of it. But yeah, I think for the most population, like the extra accountability you get from online, the ability to actually help you with your training more than what people think. I feel like online is it just appeals to more people, and the flexibility is the huge one. You know, like not everyone can always train at the same time every day. So having someone there, or sorry, having a program there to do, and it's like, okay, look, these are your 3 workouts. When can you fit them in the week? Like, it doesn't matter if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Monday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever. Like, fit them in. It also comes down to a cost. Online for the overall, you know, package is a lot cheaper. One-to-one can rack up really dear. If you had a program and you're like, I go to the gym 5 days a week, right? Okay, so you do an online coach, you're paying one payment. It doesn't matter if you're training 3 times or 5 times. Like the program's the program. Like it's created for you. It is what it is. If you were like, right, I go to the gym 5 times a week, and I've got a PT, like a one-to-one coach, whatever, and they're charging you what a going rate now is probably around £50 an hour. But you know, even if it was less than that, you're looking at like hundreds and hundreds of pounds a month. So financially as well, it comes down to it.
I agree. I agree. I think like the other one as well, like what you said about injuries and stuff like that. I think like one time would be good to have a personal trainer in person. Is say you've got an injury playing football or rugby or something like that, and you're actually sort of coming back from like surgery or something like that. Then having someone with you to make sure that you are doing the right exercises and you're rehabbing properly. I think that's a good time to have a personal trainer. And I'm with you. I think with online coaching, there's so much more freedom to it. You're not relying on someone else's schedule. You are just, but you obviously need to know what your schedule is. I think that's something that a lot of people make the mistake with. I know I've done it in the past. It's like, right, I'm going to get into the gym. I'm going to train 5 days a week. I'm going to go running 6 days a week and stuff like that. I think what you need to look at is you need to look at your schedule when it comes to online coaching and realistically figure out how many times you can actually train and commit to that. And if
Yeah.
you can get more, then add more. Less at the beginning, if need be, know that you can do that. It's far better than you going, right, I'm going to get to the gym 6 days a week. And then 2 weeks in, you realise that that's just not, you can't do that.
The biggest thing is with any level of coaching, but it's like just managing people's expectations of themselves. Exactly what you're saying there. Someone comes to me like, right, okay, I can go. If anybody ever says to me, I can train 4 to 5 times a week, it's always 4 times. They say it's 3 to 4 times, it's always 3. Like if you're saying 3 to 4, you're talking about, okay, most of the time it's 3. You have been 4 times once this month. It's, it's not the same. So, and also just showing people like you need to do a lot less than you think to get a lot more out of it than you think possible. Like as studies show and stuff, like we need a lot less like work in the gym, a lot less sets than people like used to think. I remember when I was going to the gym doing like German volume training of 8 times 8 and all this stuff, and I'd be in the gym for like 2 hours because I would do the exercise. One, my intensity wasn't good enough, so I've done 10 times 10 or 8 times 8, whatever it was, and then I'm like, well, that was on squats. Now I've still got everything else to do because I didn't push it hard enough to start with. If you're doing squats, should be shagged at the end of it. But I wasn't. So it's people's intensity and stuff like that is not there, which is why they end up just doing far too much. So showing people, look, train hard and train properly, good programming, good frequency, as in like if you're training 3 days a week, don't do if you're training 3 days a week, I wouldn't say do push-pull legs. You can do it, okay, fine, but you'll be better off trying to hit every muscle group twice a week within those 3 days. So programming needs to be a bit better than that. I know there's going to be loads of people that go, but I love push-pull legs. I'm like, it's really good, but is it optimal if you're only ever doing one thing once a week? Probably not. So yeah, like programming that way, just showing people like you need to do less than you think you need to do. You just got to do it properly. And rather than going 5, 6 times a week and doing that for 2 weeks because you're off work, because you're on annual leave, and then you go back to work and you're like, shit, I'm only doing 3 times a week. And then you get bummed out and then you stop. And you're like, you just started at 3 times a week. You would have built up that motivation. You would have built up that consistency. Then you go back to work. You're still training 3 days a week. Nothing has changed. Motivation is still high. Brilliant. Like, or coaching in general, that's a big part of it. Like just managing people's expectations of themselves. And showing them like, look, we're at baseline, you're getting results. If we just turn the notch on a few different things, we're just going to keep progressing all the time. But again, people straight out the gate, right, I want it all. Like you said, I will do it. I do it now. We all do it. Get frustrated. I'm like, right, new year, I'm going to go on a run. I'm going to do a run every week. I ran on New Year's Day. I ain't ran since.
Yeah, mate, it was like, I'm going to sit here 6 evenings a week and I'm going to sit here and work on my business. I don't get me wrong, I've done a little bit more, but I've not done 6 evenings a week. So, and listen, we're all human, right? Things like that happen. But I think, as you say, it's the managing the expectations straight off the bat.
Yeah, 100%.
Listen, mate, I'm going to let you get to it. Thank you very much for taking the time out to have a chat with me. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah,
and we may even delve into this whole Ronaldo being better than Messi situation.
Yeah, be my guest.
Where can people find you on social media, mate?
Nick, well, I have to actually check it. What is my actual username now? We are
Tell us your first podcast.
Craft Coach. I wasn't sure if it was craftcoach.nick or nick.craftcoach. Yeah, on Instagram, that's the best place to find me. You will see links to all my other socials on there because I'm just currently sorting all of that out to get back. So I'll be back on Instagram, back on YouTube like I used to do a long time ago. Obviously TikTok, stuff like that. So I'll put all the links on there. But yeah, Instagram's the best place. Reach out if you want to chat or ask any questions, anything like that, and I'll be happy to help.
Nice one, mate. Well, listen, have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Cool. Take care,
Cheers,
man.
pal.
Bye.